Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Let's go.
Welcome back, traders. God bless each and every single one of you guys. Hope you're having a stand-up freaking Thursday afternoon in the markets. As you see, a little bit of a bloody rejection day in the markets. Now, we're going to start with a post I posted yesterday. I've been gone for 3 days, so thank you to everyone who's reached out. Only in Paradise, a couple others saying what's going on. Just had a couple long days at work, but today we're going to be covering AMC, GameStop, and then the broader markets. AMC will get the bullish picture towards the middle of the video, so make sure to stay the full length. And yesterday I said potential fireworks with Independence Day coming up, right? Shorter week. And then rejection tomorrow, depending on the volume. And I said that because of the RSI band. Now, what have you done since then? The RSI band on the 4 hour, you've since rejected that candlestick, and then you made a bearish engulfing on the 4 hour. Now, this to me is just spelling consolidation or downside, and that's what I'm going to get into in a second, right? I think the shorter time picture is a little bit of a rejection here as you're in not just a head, shoulder, or a shoulder, head, right shoulders here, which is a bearish structure on the short time frame, but also an ascending triangle. So you could see Amy kind of consolidate here, make one more higher low, kind of break this downtrend, bait the bulls a little bit, and then knife. And I say that because of this larger structure as well as this shorter structure of the right shoulder, right? That is a bearish structure. Structure. But we wanted to cover here on the shorter time frame, the technical profit target that I think it may come down to. And I think that because of this break, traders, of this ascending triangle would give you the full profit target of pretty much the head and shoulders, right? So you have a little bit of a technical confluent move there. That takes you directly in to your 112 gap fill, guys. So almost perfect market symmetry there between those two kind of formations, and to bring you into a technical gap fill at that literally perfect, right? Literal perfect profit target from that breakdown, taking you into that gap fill, I think for me is strong enough technical confluence for me to call, all right, I think it's likely here that you go down and you fill this gap. If you don't, traders, there's so much support, right? You're going to have to break this uptrend, which you've been holding since June 25th. That's one step. Second step here is you're going to have to break below 170 or 175. That's acted as nice support, not just once, right? Saw a nice move off of that, up 69%, and then up 30%. And then you're going to have to break this uptrend. So there is so much technical support here pointing to the fact that you may trap bears in doing this, right? So breaking below 175, that's your big no-no. You don't want to do that because then that validates this bearish structure. But then breaking below 165 to 160 is going to lose you this uptrend that has been volatile, right? Been very, very strong in this bottom run up. You saw a 105% run. You then saw a 132% run. So if you go down and tap this and you find some kind of bearish formation candle, right? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for something like this. A bullish engulfing of 5% or more is what sparked it here. And then what sparked it here was the exact same thing, bullish engulfing of 7%. So if you come down here, traders, and you make that bullish engulfing, you break back above 170, I think it's likely that this short-term bearish structure gets overridden by this longer macro trend line in which you're just making higher lows and higher highs, right? Wave-like. So that's a very, very possible scenario for AMC, right? Let's say we tag it and then we go and make a higher high that would match with these two highs, potentially bringing you up to, say we tap it July 8th, right? In about a week. And then we run another 112%. That's bringing you up to 350, which would be significant. And typically, until this trend line is broken, the trend is your friend, team, right? Looking at the overall trend, it's bullish. It is bullish, guys. So the trend is your friend unless otherwise broken. No matter what the short term says, right? No matter what it says. If you come down to 160, guess what? I am slapping the ask on AMC. If you break below 160, guess what? I am slapping the ask on AMC, right? Don't do or act on what I say. I'm not a financial advisor, but that is just the market structure right now. And although this technical confluent ascending triangle and bearish head and shoulders formation taking you down to 112 looks almost too perfect, as well as this technical potential wedge you're forming here on the 4-hour RSI also looks a little too perfect, right? Maybe you come up, you make one more high within this triangle, and then you dump, giving you that test of the midline on the RSI before you dump into oversold, and then that is your striking zone for any potential longs. Right, there's a very real opportunity here on the stock for the long-term trade. And I just wanted to outline that for you guys, that although it may look bearish in the short term, guys, you have the market, the broader market going down. You have AMC looking a little bloody. And on the daily time frame, you are literally hanging on by a needle, guys. The 9-day EMA coming down, which is rejected the last 2 times it's tapped. The 200 hovering right around 197. That slice through would most likely act as that catalyst to drive you down. And then you're holding on top of the 50-day EMA by 1 freaking penny. Right? These are not good things. These are not good signs for the short-term momentum. So breaking beneath, right, these 3 EMAs kind of sandwiching downward would come with volatility, right? That is the most likely outcome here, in my opinion. But, traders, but, the more you zoom out the weekly time frame, you're all right, right? You are all right. You're literally on top of the previous high, testing it. There's a pretty strong opportunity that you just swing this higher. But even if you drop it, right, you still have this uptrend that has been monstrous, right? Not only were you bullish engulfing on the daily, but on the weekly too. That is a beautiful time frame to watch for, right around this 160 territory. And you zoom out one more time, traders, right? This is where we get bullish. This is where we get jacked, guys. Looking at the monthly time frame, you've closed a candle above the monthly 9-day EMA for the first time, traders. I just want you to take this away. This is probably one of the most important things I've talked about on this video so far. The 9-day EMA. It's this red kind of line right here. It's kind of floating right above price currently. And what have you done, right? What have you done? You closed the month, even though it was not the close we wanted, right? But you closed it green, and that's what matters. Seeing this high of volume, traders, you saw a bullish engulfing candlestick, you saw a bullish hammer candlestick, and you saw an inverted bullish hammer candlestick, which are 3 months of green and 3 months of particularly bullish closed hammer candlesticks, or bullish candlesticks in general. And this came off of nice rippy volume, right? A 10% month on nice volume. And although you did not close at the highs, right, you closed above the 9-day EMA. It's currently sitting at 185. So I think there's a lot of technical importance of the area that you're in right now, which even if you lose it, what we're going to look for is a bullish July, right? You just take a quick little peeky weeky with me, right? Look at Grok. Look at Greg explain your quarter so far. Record May attendance, 25 million moviegoers, the most since 2019. Late June momentum, Toy Story 5, 4.8 million attendees to that. Total revenue, 1.45 billion, 21% year over year. This ended March, right? So theoretically, you are already kicking ass going into May, June. You then saw record attendance in May and blockbusters hit in June. Food and beverage up 22%. Admissions up 22%. Attendance up 14%. All year over year. Adjusted EBITDA plus 38 million versus last year a negative 58 million. Traders. Net loss narrowed to 117 million. So when you talk about the kind of momentum swing that July could bring, you could start to see a lot of this earnings that's going to happen August 10th begin to price in July. And so that's where I say pause, hit the brakes, right? Take a step back and look at the macro. Look at what you're forming here on the larger time frames. Now, even that you have this bearish structure that could take you down to 112, freaking boo-hoo, right? Cry me a river. You are up. even to date, 102% from the lows when we were covering this falling wedge on Amy. So if you've learned anything on this channel, you've learned that AMC, where it was deep value. You were making multiple touches of bullish divergence inside of a bullish reversal formation, which is a falling wedge. Now we're telling you that you may go down in the short term, but that it's going, in my opinion, right. I just think it's going to be okay when you look at the broader picture. The monthly time frame on AMC closing above the 9-day EMA for the first time, traders. I don't think you feel my excitement right now, right? I'm going to take a quick little sip of the Celsius because you guys need to feel and just look at what is happening on the freaking stock. Right? Stay with me here. Looking at the 9-day rejection. Close below, rejection, close below, rejection, close below. Last time you closed above this, traders, was November of 2021, guys. Last time you broke above it was January of 2021, traders. I don't know how much more obvious I have to make it for traders that there is a serious and significant behavioral switch on the AMC macro. And that's when we're going to take one more zoom out, right? Record-breaking volume and closing above the 9-day EMA since the first time back here. What have you done? You've closed a green freaking bullish engulfing on the quarterly time frame, up 93.88%, traders. So give yourself a little tap on the back and look at where you are, right? You are one green quarter away from seeing this bullish momentum continue to spiral in the bull's control. And this is truthfully, guys, what happened in the last roundabout, right? You made a low here, then you made a significantly lower low, or a retest. You saw bearish momentum begin to slow going into that retest, and then a cross, and a big one, right? 381% followed up by 455%. So the first time you've gotten this quarterly MACD cross, traders, since back here, right? So just looking at the similarities, and you should expect, in my opinion, right, if you see this quarterly MACD follow through to the extent that it did in 2021, I'm expecting a massive freaking move, right? And if you break this all-time resistance on AMC, which now currently sits around 318, traders, right around that significant price target that we gave on AMC just a couple weeks ago, it's in my opinion, right, very, very likely that you see this thing follow through up to the quarterly 9-day EMA, or the point of control on AMC, where you've seen the most shares traded in the history of the stock, right around $4, 4 to 5, 566. I know is significantly important, right? This wick right here, 556 to be exact. But if you get above that $4 to $7 territory, traders, it's a straight shot into 10. And a lot of people are doubting me when I say that, but I do believe you're going to see a significant test of your previous all-time low, just like you saw a retest after this knife, right? Retest. You can only knock at the door so many times before this thing will break back into this huge liquidity candle, right? And just like you had it back here once you got the quarterly MACD cross, once you crossed it down, you went all the way back. You retraced all your gains, and then you made another all-time low. Breaking above $10 on AMC is that macro change of behavior that you need to see you see some kind of crazy candle like this, right? And I do believe we're going to get it. I really, really am convicted in that. But there's a lot of things that have to happen beforehand, traders. So we're going to be covering this thing every step of the way, but we are now knocking down the multiple steps that we had in our macro thesis, right? IWM above 300. We knocked that one, right? 6 months of trading and analyzing the index, knocked that one out. Quarterly MACD cross on AMC. Knocked that one, right? Get above the 200-day EMA. We're working on it, right? You've done it, but you've now failed to hold it on the daily time frame. not a great look, right? Just got to be honest, not a great look. But if you can get back above it and force this golden cross, or even hold above the 50 here and then spring, that is going to be your third and final step to see this thing make a huge, just massive move, right? Losing that uptrend brings you to here. It's that simple. It is literally that simple. 14% loss if you lose this uptrend. So we'll be analyzing it. We'll be covering it every single day. So make sure to slap the subscribe button, punch the like button, and let's get in, traders, to GameStop. Even though you're seeing a disgusting poo-poo candle on the daily time frame, I just want to outline for you guys, you're doing something pretty significant, right? You saw a 2.54% close the last candle, and even though you've failed to break out of this neckline like we've talked about, we said some volatility would come with it. You've now broken above this downtrend, traders. And what has happened the last time we broke above it? Well, we retested it, and then we sprung off of it, right? We went from 24 up to 26.80, and in after hours, upwards of 30 very, very quickly. Now, even though we went from the bottom to the top, make it drop very, very quickly, you breaking out of this is significant, traders. And I probably don't have to outline for this for you guys to understand that that's significant. But look at this technical flagpole, put it on top of the breakout, right? Withholding or holding above this breakout, traders, takes you into your multiple gap fills that you've tried to fill all of these years. Now one full calendar year of this trading sideways, and you kind of have two different symmetrical formations within this, right? Every single breakout of this channel will lead to a bigger breakout as it currently stands. A breakout into a breakout into a breakout. GameStop looks freaking primed and loaded, but it's going to come off of some fundamental news. That's what we've stayed true, and we've said every step of the way, guys, but there are signs to believe that you may see something, right? What are those? Well, right off the bat, right, you've broken out of this falling wedge that we talked about on the local time frame. You made bullish divergence in doing so at the bottom, and somebody loaded up a whole lot of shares sub 21. From that, you saw bullish engulfing, 3.5%, a doji, and then a higher high, right? In doing that, traders, in doing that formation, breaking the falling wedge, you've broken free of this consolidation candle. That profit target takes you up to 30, right? So if you see this continuation, it's bullish. Breaking above this neckline at 27 schmeckles, traders, that gives you a much, much larger profit target. Taking from the neckline, you got to see this shoulder, head, right shoulder price action. And from this breakout, guys, you should expect a GME right around $37. Now, do you top out at the previous wick? That's the question here. Do you top out around 33 to 35? Very, very possible. In my opinion, depending on the news, you would expect an extension about 9 to 10% more, upwards of 40% or 40 bucks because of this previous upsloping resistance. Now, taking another peel back, traders, a breakout out of $25, traders, and why it's significant is a break of this bullish pennant formation that you've been in now for, how long have you been in for this? 2 years, right? So 2 years of sideways price action, up and down 50% or more. A break of that gives you the technical profit target of this bullish pennant. Right? That's a squeeze. Upwards of $115 to the all-time high. Whether or not you do that, traders, is going to rely on GameStop's fundamental news, the volume, and the momentum. And you've already done a couple good things in terms of the momentum, right? Look at the weekly time frame. Take a quick little peeky weeky with me, and look at the momentum, right? The weekly is doing something that you've seen a couple different times and is always significantly bullish. Looking at the weekly RSI band, traders, you are in a beautiful freaking spot in which you could cross above the 50 line and above the RSI band and get a weekly MACD cross. That's your trifecta on GME, that you would see this thing go absolutely bananas, in my opinion. So for me, the question is, what is going to happen here on the short-term time frame to build that catalyst, right? You need to clear the uncertainty with this eBay acquisition. You just have to, in my opinion. Something is going to happen here for GameStop to begin to rip, or you're going to see a rejection. But with both sloping upwards, I find it unlikely, traders. I do. And that's what gets me so jacked, right? I think GME's a fantastic swing if it breaks above. And just to give you guys some reference to what I'm saying here, what I'm speaking, this was your last significant cross of that RSI band. You saw a breakout of about 25%. This was another cross of the RSI band. You saw a breakout of 22%. This was your previous cross above the midband. You saw a breakout of 28%. So just to give you guys some technical confluence, this thing looks absolutely beautiful. And what's going to send it there, I have no idea, but I'm excited for it every step of the way. Furthermore, looking at the monthly time frame, you have the opportunity to potentially close a monthly candle this month after seeing 2 monthly greens in a row above your monthly RSI band. Now, you've flirted with this in the past. You've never really gotten it to full fruition, but doing this, traders, breaks you out of this bullish pennant and breaks you out of the monthly RSI band. Since back here, which marked a significant bullish swing to the upside, 25 and then 6% on a blow-off top. And then here, where is it? Right here. Whoops. It's not what I wanted. Right here. Right, so these two moves came with significant momentum and bullish catalysts. This was Roaring Kitty coming back, and this was I believe ending the cash raising, right? Dilution ended for a second, and GameStop had like monstrous amounts of cash on hand. What is going to happen on this third time, right? Are we going to get it? That is the question at hand, and we will continue to cover it every step of the way. I really like GameStop right now. I really, really do. Something is boiling, and I'm excited for it to boil over. Make sure to slap the subscribe button, right? And we're going to get straight into the GME warrants for you guys. GME warrants from our boy Only in Paradise. Continue watching with us. Don't go anywhere unless you are... I'm not going to say it. Looking at the GME warrants on the daily time frame, traders. So you got a big swing to the upside, back above the 9-day EMA, and a green cross on the MACD. What you have not done yet is you have not broken this downsloping resistance in the volume profile. I expect this to happen, and when this happens, traders, either a big rejection or pump, right? There's an opportunity here to the short side if you swing lowering volume, and then rejection, or you're going to break out. And I expect some fireworks to come with that. But already you've seen a pretty nice move off of our falling broadening wedge thesis, a move upwards of 20%. So whether or not you're going to get the full extension on this, traders, which would be a tap of the downsloping resistance at 40% to the upside, and then a breakout would be 100% gainer on the GME warrants. We're going to have to wait and see, right? You have some good momentum on this stock. And on the weekly time frame, you saw a beautiful slowing of bearish momentum, a green doji, and what would be a beautiful morning star candle formation, traders. That's when you see a big move down, followed by a hesitation, and then a green move up. This is often a reversal signal. So on the macro, I'm starting to really like this, but you will get that same cross that AMC is looking to get, which is the 50. or excuse me, the 9 through the 200, which is always bearish, right? Always, always, always. So we'll cover IWM, and then we'll wish you guys good luck in trading. IWM seeing a little bit of a nasty daily candlestick formation and a nasty weekly, right? Look at the weekly, guys. This is your last day of trading. You're potentially shooting star candlestick formation. Not a great look for the continuations coming the weekday open on Monday, but even worse on the daily time frame, you saw a MACD close to the downside and potentially, right, a bearish engulfing below the 9-day EMA. Usually when this happens, you're likely to visit the 50, which is currently sitting right around 286.73, and that would not be the end of the world. You have the current uptrend of these last two taps, the 50, that just so happens to line up with the 50 traders. So even if you open up bloody, which is technically confluent with your AMC thesis that you might see a little bit of downside, expect a 3% retracement starting next week on the broader small cap index. Not surprising, but if you come down, that'll give the RSI a nice moment to cool down before seeing this go into price discovery within 300 traders. I'm still bullish on IWM because you've not lost the 50-day EMA. If you lose it going in next week, that's going to be a much different freaking story. But until next time, guys, God bless each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to smash the freaking subscribe button. We're on our way to 3K subscribers. Like the video, share it with some other apes. And as always, traders, I believe this. I hope you do too. The best is yet to come. Much love and peace. Woo!